From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, July 7th. Chief Meteorologist Ashley Brown is tracking a few isolated storms that will bring in some heavy rain and small hail for the evening. Storm chances will decrease into the evening as temperatures remain mild overnight with a low of 73. Tomorrow, the hot and humid trend continues. Enjoy mostly sunny skies and light winds. Once again, isolated afternoon storms will develop with a high of 93. Vaughx Booker, the black man who was being assaulted by white men at Lake Monroe over the weekend, held a news conference this afternoon with Bloomington's mayor, State Senator J.D. Ford, Booker's attorney, Catherine Lyle, a couple witnesses and others, all who spoke out against the attack from the weekend, where Booker and witnesses say the attackers were heard calling for a noose and yelling white power. So first here, you're going to hear from Vaughx, then you'll hear from Stephen Cox. He was one of the witnesses who recorded the encounter on his phone.
We often talk about racism like it's an abstract thing. We've seen lots of videos that were blatantly racist, and folks still dismiss the racism. In this moment, I think it's undeniable when a group of white men feel that they can call for a noose, call me nappy-headed, scream out white power, and attempt to lynch a man in broad daylight. Folks, a lot of folks said, well, if this man said white power, why did you go back and talk to him? My family's been in Indiana for 170 years. If you think this is the first time that I've encountered a racist white person, you understand what racism is. I've had a racist boss, friends with racist parents that I've had to have a dialogue to. I don't have the privilege to avoid racism in society. What I wanted to do was reach out to folks and see if we could establish a dialogue, if we could recognize each other's humanity, if we could build a better community, and sometimes you have to take that uncomfortable step.
The only ammunition we had at that time was our phones. We were far outnumbered. So when we got our phones out, they had other people in their group screaming to let him go because we had our phones out. But
Vaughx, had said multiple times yesterday that when they were holding him down, calling for a noose, threatening to harm him, he truly thought that they were trying to kill him.
Yeah.
As someone who was an outsider, kind of able to see all the moving parts of this, did you also think that it was a possibility that Vaughx might not make it?
Yes. When they called him, you can leave the boy here. You guys can go, but you can leave the boy here. So the white people could go, but they wanted us to leave him there and to do what they wanted to with him. I don't think anybody could do that in good conscience. I'm not a fighter, so I'm like, but I wasn't going to leave. But it was scary. I mean, probably the scariest thing I've ever seen.
The attackers are said to have claimed the land was private property, and Vaughx and his friends shouldn't be there, but they were actually on public land, the Hoosier National Forest. Here's what the Bloomington mayor had to say about something like this happening in this town.
We're in the middle of a city that's 202 years old and a country that's 244 years old, and for most of that history, this has been a place where racism has been embedded in laws and culture. We've worked really hard to improve our community and our country, but we know we're not done. I'm here as the mayor of Bloomington, as the mayor for one of our residents, Vaughx Booker, who went through unspeakable danger and risk and physical harm just a few days ago. And my job is to help protect my residents. And I am sorry for what happened to Mr. Booker, and I'm going to cooperate fully to try to make sure that justice is done.
And Bloomington police are searching for two people who were in a car that struck a woman, knocking her unconscious, and dragged a man during a protest. That protest was organized to demand the arrests of the white men who were caught on that video assaulting Booker at Lake Monroe. Police officers responded to that collision around 9:30 last night. It was near the Monroe County Courthouse on the Bloomington Square. We had this for you on Wish TV last night at 10 and 11. There is some cell phone video of the car with a person on the hood of the car and the other being dragged. You can find that on wishtv.com. We're following the story on multiple fronts, from the original incident that happened at Lake Monroe to the protests, more scheduled for tonight, in fact, to the search for the two people in the car that hit the protesters. Sierra Hignite actually spoke today to the woman who was on the hood of the car. She was knocked unconscious, had to go to the hospital. Her friend who witnessed the whole thing said that she jumped on top of the hood of the car because if she hadn't, she would have been run over. You can hear that report on Wish TV at 5 o'clock. Indiana's coronavirus-related death toll has now topped 2,700 people since the first ones were recorded less than 4 months ago. This is according to new state health statistics. The Indiana State Health Department today added 19 COVID-19 deaths to the total, with most fatalities that happened between Thursday and Monday. And people receiving food assistance in Indianapolis can get a free mask from Gleaners. The food bank is partnering with the city for the new initiative. If you need a mask, you can get one by going to indy.gov/masks. The city is using $3 million for the program through the Federal CARES Act. And the job market took a big step toward healing in May, though plenty of damage remains as a record level of hiring that month followed record layoffs in March and April. The Labor Department also said Tuesday that the number of available jobs rose sharply, but remained far below pre-pandemic levels. The figures from the government's Job Openings and Labor Turnover Survey, or JOLTS, illustrate the whiplash the economy's experienced since the pandemic intensified in mid-March. And now the White House and Republican lawmakers are trying to figure out how to give Americans another financial boost. President Trump is looking for economic turnaround, especially headed into the election. The federal government released key data over just who received money from the $660 billion Paycheck Protection Program yesterday. Some recipients of loans are raising some eyebrows in Washington, including political organizations, lobbying groups, and even Kanye West's fashion brand. The program was also set up to help small businesses, including salons, gyms, and restaurants, but the data only shows payments of more than $150,000. And as the epidemic is forcing many businesses to limit service or remain closed, those loans aren't enough. And Trump has said he will once again build the greatest economy in the world. He said he is supportive of another stimulus check. But the White House says things should also be addressed in a real systemic way. Republicans in Congress are divided as leadership weighs concerns over mounting debt against the need for the stimulus. A coronavirus outbreak in California legislature has indefinitely delayed the state assembly's return to work from a scheduled summer recess. Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon's office confirmed 5 people who work in the assembly have tested positive for the coronavirus. They include Assemblywoman Autumn Burke, who's believed to have contracted the virus while on the assembly floor last month. Rendon said Monday the assembly will stay in recess until further notice. He said the decision is to protect lawmakers, staff, and the public. The legislature shut down for nearly 2 months earlier this year during the pandemic. The National Hockey League and NHL Players Association have reached a tentative agreement to return to play this season and extend their collective bargaining agreement by 4 years. Training camps would open July 13th, and games would resume August 1st if approved by the league's Board of Governors and Players Executive Committee and full membership. The NHL is going straight to the playoffs with 24 teams resuming play. Those teams will travel to one of 2 hub cities July 26th. A person with direct knowledge of the agreements told the Associated Press that the NHL has selected Toronto and Edmonton, Alberta, to be the hub cities in hosting the qualifying round and at least first 2 playoff rounds. Japan's disaster management agency says the death toll from recent flooding has risen to 50, and at least a dozen others are still missing. Pounding rain since late Friday in a southern region of Japan has triggered widespread flooding. The Fire and Disaster Management Agency said 49 of the dead confirmed as of this morning were from riverside towns in a neighboring region. The additional person was found dead as the heavy rain spread across the southern area. At least a dozen people are missing. Rescue operations have been hampered by floodwater and continuing harsh weather. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.